whether it's equities or mutual funds or alternative assets, as we heard earlier, individuals across age groups are now actively engaging and influencing financial markets. And this shift is not just deepening the markets, but also contributing to a more resilient and inclusive economic ecosystem. All right? And as you'll all notice from the energy in the room, a very special guest is now amongst us. All right? Ladies and gentlemen, he's arrived. Mr. Suniel Shetty, actor and entrepreneur, among other things. A huge round of applause, please. We are very, very, very loyal and committed fans, sir. Thank you for being here. All right, so ladies and gentlemen, we're going to move on to a session that promises to be insightful and inspiring. So whether he's dominating the big screen or making strategic moves in the business world, our next speaker has more than successfully bridged these two universes that couldn't be any more different. Ladies and gentlemen, from action hero to angel investor, we're going to give you a quick preview of Suniel Shetty's business playbook. And to moderate the conversation, if I could please now invite back on stage my colleague and editor with Times Network Digital, Kalpana Sharma. Welcome back, Kalpana. And with that, I give you actor, entrepreneur, and action hero, among other things, Suniel Shetty, ladies and gentlemen. Kalpana, it's over to you.
Thank you, Pooja. And I don't think you need an introduction. But I would like to start by asking you, if you had to really introduce yourself today, the space that you are in, as an actor, an investor, father, grandfather, husband, what would you say?
Grandfather. I love that. I love that title because it has a double impact. One, of course, you see the joy on my face, and number two, they say, wow, you're fit to be a grandfather. That's exactly what I want, because I want the world to realize that if you keep things simple, you can always stay healthy. So for me, it's for everybody to go back home and tell their parents, their spouse, or whoever it is, ki, yeah, look at Suniel uncle, yeah, look at the way he is, see how fit he is, why can't you be that way? And that's the only reason I keep harping about fitness and health.
And your name is pretty much synonymous to discipline. So, but we would like to know what a bad day looks like for you and how do you fix it?
A bad day is when I don't train, when I don't get up at 5:30 in the morning, don't go to the gym. It just begins wrong. There's something, that drives me because of my training, the energy level, the way I think. It is that mental space that it works on. And the minute I'm on a high, when I'm mentally on a high, I think everything just looks beautiful, and that gives me so much more energy. Now, I'm not saying it because of anything else, but because I truly believe that it is that consistency of mine, of day in and day out, going to that gym 6 days in a week or 5 days in a week and taking care of my health, that allows me to continue what I'm doing, and especially at this age. 65 is not a small number, more than probably 90% in the grave, but allows me to be different from others because I think differently, I train differently, I eat differently, and that's the difference.
You inspire everyone, and 65, doesn't go with you.
Thank you.
So if you had to, tell our audience, what are those 5 things that you do on a daily basis that makes your day, today's World Happiness Day? So on that note, I would like you to share that, what are those 5 things that you do in a day that make you truly happy?
See, it's always the simple things, First of all, wake up in the morning. That's the happiest thing, knowing that
What
I'm
time?
awake. I wake up at 5:30, and I'm at the gym by 6. I'll tell you what my day is, and then, it's for people to decide what keeps me happy and what probably doesn't. But 5:30 in the morning, I'm up, I go to the gym, 7:30 till 7:30 I'm in the gym. It's not only weight training, it's a lot of movement now. I'm getting older, so I don't want to hunch, so I have to take care of that hunch. I have to make sure that I don't drag my feet, I have that energy, and I can touch my toes, flexibility, because having this tag of an action hero, people believe that you've got to fight all the time, and even body doubles say, nahi sir, aap jaise nahi kar sakte hum, which is a compliment but also difficult, because otherwise you're like a wet tissue. So I have to be very careful. When you lift a wet tissue, you might just rip it. So you've got to be careful about that. Then 7:30 is generally when my granddaughter comes home, because we stay in the same apartment. So 7:30 to 8:30, 9 is with her. And if I can go for a quick shower and come back, nothing like it. So that part of the day is phenomenal. And once that starts, if it's a normal day at shoot, I'm excited about shoot and what I'm doing. Excited about the fact that after even 35 years, you still have work. You have something to look forward to. Then probably my meal times that give me a high, keep at the right time, I've got to have my meal. And especially dinner, early dinner, and with the family again. Like I said, Tia lives in the same apartment complex that I do. So these are the little highs that are there in my life. And on a weekend or any time, if I can go and play some cricket, that's a bigger high. So I think it's the simple things, because as you move on in life, focus changes. Focus changes, and then eventually you realize it's your health and your family that keeps you happy and keeps you going also.
One high moment that we all witnessed was Ahan's debut in your border.
Absolutely.
And what do you have to say about that?
Biggest high of my life. Always. They say nepotism. I don't understand what that word is. But a son in his father's footsteps. Huge high. Son playing a real life hero. A bigger high. The success of the film, an even bigger high. So, it's a double, triple whammy for him. And I'm glad he went through a tough period, like, we all go through at some time. Luckily, he went early, but now established and doing some good work.
It was a big high for us also as an audience. We loved it.
I mean, anything about India, I think, is a high today, which is beautiful. I don't think we ever had this feeling about being Indian, being proudly Indian, and wanting to show that off.
Yes. And in fact, we have heard you speak a lot of times about that you're, this action hero and you're very strong in situations. But when it comes to your family, somewhere you find yourself falling weak. Why do you say that?
Because I guess that's a mother's role. She's the stronger one. A woman is always the stronger one. And when it comes to health, and even when the kids were little and something happened, I couldn't handle it. Even today, I can't handle it. Even in my own action, I can do any kind of stunt. I've done stunts that are, when I think back, I say, holy cow, did I actually do this? And why did I do this? What was I thinking? But if I saw a stuntman or a double do that, I won't see it. I've never seen a stunt in my life. Once it's done, I would turn and just go hug the individual and congratulate him or thank him if he's doing my double for that. I don't know what it is. I think men are weaker there. They can take on the world, business, stress, everything, but when it comes to health, 99% of the time it's always the mother, the woman who is the one who has a very, very strong heart. I guess because of, what they go through.
Yes.
That 9 months of pregnancy, having that baby. I see Tia and I realize that, it's unbelievable. And I think even for me personally, the day Mana delivered and I was there in that delivery room, I think that's the day when I realized that being a woman and what being a woman means and why are they worshipped the way they are is because of what they go through, you know. And I think that changed a lot in my life. You always hold your mother at that pedestal in life, you know, but suddenly I had my wife who had taken her place. I mean, or with her. And that's amazing. That's absolutely amazing.
And how have you seen Athia change after becoming a mother?
Oh, so responsible, so loving, so affectionate. I see a little Mana in her, you know, and Mana has been an absolute brilliant wife and mother. And I see that in her. I see that in Thea.
That's so beautiful. And then from an action hero, you actually moved to backing real life risk takers. What was it that started your angel investing journey?
I think, you know, I'm blessed to be an actor. It's a passport. If you conduct yourself right, because the world is watching, huge opportunities, and you end up meeting such beautiful people. You are a passport to anybody's heart, not just a country. Good people meet you, good opportunities come your way. You've got to have your ears and eyes open, and you know, and good people bring out good opportunities. So I think it basically started there. And post-pandemic, I think, you know, that 2, 3 years, 4 years when we were not doing anything, you saw a whole lot of young entrepreneurs and founders come up. And I backed 1 or 2 that time, and it worked. And when something works, you know, you feel, wow. And being an actor, otherwise, from a business perspective, before I was an actor, everything I touched turned gold. But after I became an actor, everything I touched turned to dust because I couldn't focus on it. You know, I wanted to do the business myself, kept a team, but that team doesn't work like the way you'd want them to because your presence is not there. And this being not there for months together doesn't help a business grow, and it kept failing. It was only when I met these young founders and I realized they are pros at what they do. I am good at a particular job, and if I can back them and if we can create magic together, it would work, and that it's worked. You know, it's a new high for every actor today. First, you would have never heard of actors as entrepreneurs, or, you know, X has made a beautiful investment, Y has made an even better investment, and they're doing so well. It's because of these young ideas and young founders that we get an opportunity. For others, for me, it was always real estate. It was real estate that kept me alive. I knew there was something good happening. I invested, let it wait, you know, especially land, let it wait, and then it grew. I grew, and people said, wow, you know, he's a great entrepreneur, which is not true. It's something just happened by the way. But like I said, you're an actor, so you get a tag, and that's why you're sitting here with some of the major achievers who deserve to be sitting here actually.
So do you draw any parallel, you know, between choosing a movie script and choosing which business you'll back? Can you draw any parallel there?
Yeah, everything needs a good team. Everything needs a good script, which is a product. You know, it's about what is missing and what problem can I take care of. So whether it's the entertainment business or whether it's entrepreneurship, you've got to see what your end audience wants. Your ideas may be brilliant, but does it resonate with the end user? Is it making a difference to them? Does it change their life? And that's what happened during the pandemic. It changed people's life, you know. You had moms and housewives become entrepreneurs, and today they are still leading with all the little brands that they've grown. You know, unfortunately also, everybody looks at it like, you know, unicorn. Thankfully, those days are over, where every founder thought he'd be a unicorn. What India needs is a million millionaires, and not necessarily a billionaire, because those millions can support so many more people. And that's, if you want to see your country progress, you want to see the states progress, and on the whole growth, then it's got to be these millionaires who will make the difference.
So during your show, you had met a lot of young startup founders. What is it that you feel that, today's generation has that is inspiring, that really touches you?
They're focused. They're absolutely focused. They want to come up with something new. They're exciting. They're risk takers. They are very clear about what they can do, what they want to achieve. So, when you're focused and you know what you're doing, and there's a perfect balance. I mean, I won't say a perfect balance because there is no perfect balance in life, but a perfect balance of work and semi-perfect, close to perfect balance of work, play, family, and growth. And when you have great investors backing them, they can absolutely create magic. I just did a show called Bharat Ke Super Founders, and people say these shows, platforms don't necessarily give money. We gave out 138.4 crores within a period of a week. That's serious money.
That's huge.
And backed by investors who've already done their rounds of investment. And I feel a million such platforms and shows are needed. So India has that potential. And interior India had such amazing founders and products that I was in a state of shock. For the first time, I thought, why did I play host here? If I could be host and investors, I would have just piggybacked with some of the great investors and moved ahead and probably done well for myself.
Picking from what you said, it's very interesting to see your LinkedIn page. It's like a Bible for founders, for people who want to start something today. What exactly got you on to that sort of writing?
Because I couldn't express otherwise. I don't understand the internet otherwise. And I keep feeling, am I doing too much? And it's a virtual world. Everybody's faking everything. Should I also be faking it? Should I be giving my best look through a filter? Should I be saying that I'm eating this to be healthy and not what mom and mana cooks every day at home? Aren't the 28 states and 9 union territories that are there in our country and have such amazing greens and food enough for to be healthy? So I was always confused there, and that's why you see I'm not very popular probably there as much as I got appreciated in LinkedIn. LinkedIn because I spoke about failure. Yes. Every time, even today, it's about what is important and how do we, by the end of our journey, realize what is important. Can we understand that earlier in life, which I see a lot of the younger generation, and that's why I salute to them. Can they manage a certain balance? For me today, it's family and it's health. Business comes probably third, and friends also come third or fourth, because you have to prioritize. Right. Is it just me and my friends, or is it me and my grandchild? How much time do I have with her? What can I missed a lot of Thea growing up because I was on the set. Can I watch her grow up? How does she grow up? Did she just stand up and walk? And a lot of fathers actually don't know that. If asked questions, a lot of us are, because we are trying to make it in life that time. So I want to enjoy this part of my life more than anything else.
And also again, referring to one of your LinkedIn posts, you had written that, failure somewhere taught you how to be a good investor.
Absolutely, which is true. Which is very, very true, because you learn what the mistakes that you've made. अरे ये नहीं करना चाहिए था, ये ठीक होगा, ये प्रोडक्ट ही गलत था, या लॉन्च ही गलत होगी, टाइमिंग गलत होगी. जैसे फिल्म आज धुरंधर रिलीज हुई है, it's hitting every show out of the park. Any other film that comes during this time will be trampled. So it's not that the other film is probably a bad film. The timing would be wrong. जब सुनामी आ रही है तो आप बाहर बिना कपड़े के घूमने की कोशिश कर रहे हो तो आप भी उड़ी जाओगे ना. तो I think everything is about timing. Everything is about understanding, the market and then playing it.
So, 3 advice if you had to give your kids, like you're talking about how you wish that there were few things you knew early in your life. So today's generation as well as your kids, what would those 3 things be?
I think consistency. You know, everybody says discipline, discipline, discipline. I says consistently. Whatever you do, be boringly consistent at it till you believe that, you know, I'm moving ahead. Then, of course, always discipline. Then your passion and intent. For me, today, it's not about presentation. It's about people. It's not about an idea. It's the impact. So the minute I start thinking that way, I know I'm doing it for the good, for myself and for the people. You know, we all have our minuses, but we've got to understand what do I need to cover and what do I need to put out. You know, because you can't live 2 lives together then. So I think little things that matter.
And we love you for how you present yourself and, you know, tell us about your upcoming projects. That would be interesting to hear.
I've got, I just finished the show Bharat Ke Super Founders, which I'm super excited about because I feel we've made an impact, and I met some amazing founders and some amazing investors, tycoons as we call them, on the show. So much to learn from them, so much to learn from them. How strategic investment is very, very important. I'm finishing a show called the series of Welcome, called Welcome to the Jungle. It's actually a jungle of some of the finest actors we have in the country. So, you know, an absolute laugh riot. I start another film and a very, very interesting show that I was supposed to start by the end of this month, but because of the situation in the Middle East, they've pushed it a little bit. It's called The Falcons of Majlis, which is a show on about investors and startups, but in the UAE part of it. So I see a great opportunity for our founders to showcase their products there, and vice versa. So, you know, this whole India-UAE pact, if it can work brilliantly, it'll be brilliant for both. At the same time, investors from there to come, you know, bring in investment into the country, and an opportunity for their founders to have 150 million people and access to their products.
Very interesting, and we're looking forward to that whenever the situation gets under control.
I'm sure
Yes.
peace has to.
Yes, it has to. And, you know, if you have to write a book on your life, what are the chapters that will be your favorite, and what do you think you'll name the book?
अगर मैं कर सकता हूँ तो कोई भी कर सकता है. You know, a small town boy born in a little place called Mulki, who's sitting here today, thanks to Dad at the age of 9, believing that he can run away and do something with his life, which means nothing is impossible. And how important it is for all of us, especially Indians, to get back to our roots, to make sure that our children know where we come from. So making sure that you're connected to your roots is probably what my book would be all about, which automatically then talks about discipline, respect, love for the country, for everything that matters, and why karma does work.
Thank you so much for joining us today, and
Thank you.
had a lovely conversation with
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you so much, Kalpana. And